The housing market is in a strange place here in Vermont. On one hand, it's much slower than what we've seen over the past few years, with inventory building across the state, days on market skyrocketing, and fewer homes selling for over list price. Now, at the same time, we're still a long way from where we were pre pandemic and what would be considered a balanced market. Month supply of inventory currently sits at 2.7 months across the state, which, in order for it to be considered a balanced market where neither buyers or sellers have the advantage, we need to see month supply hit at least 4. Right now, we're at 2.7, which is still considered a seller's market. And at the same time, pending sales are increasing, which means that despite these high prices, despite these high interest rates, people are still out there purchasing property in the state of Vermont. So, what does this mean for you as a home buyer or a home seller out there? Now, I think the key for both buyers and sellers is to stay patient. If you're a home buyer, be patient, see a handful of properties, search for a property that's the right fit for you. It's okay to be picky. Remember in 2021, 2022, home buyers were pushed to jump on every opportunity that presented itself because these properties had 5 to 10 other offers on them. Today, properties are sitting on the market for longer. You can probably see a home once, maybe twice, maybe see a handful of different properties, and then decide what you want to make an offer on. If you're a seller out there, your home likely won't sell within the first weekend. Now, it's possible. We are still seeing multiple offers on some properties, and some homes are going under contract within that first weekend. But most likely, your home is going to sit on the market for a few weeks before you find a buyer. But at the end of the day, Vermont has a housing shortage. There aren't enough properties in Vermont, certainly not enough homes on the market for everyone who wants to purchase a property here. If we take a look at the data from 2019 compared to all of the 2020s, we see that fewer listings hit the market in every single year since 2019 than what would have been expected based on the data from the 2010s. In other words, we're about 10,000 listings short over the past 4 years from 2020 to 2024 than we would have expected to be if we used 2018's or 2019's new listing data when it hit the market. So there's fewer homes hitting the market. Of course, there was a surplus of buyers that came in because of the pandemic, and there are other issues across the country, climate issues, political issues that are driving people to Vermont. So there are more people looking to move here, fewer people selling their homes, and that is what is at the root of this confusing market here in Vermont. So we're going to dive deep into the data so you understand exactly what's going on. Before we do, my name is Liam O'Reilly. I'm a realtor here in Vermont with Jerry Riley Real Estate. If you have any real estate needs, please reach out to me directly. All of my contact information is in the description below. And let's jump over into the stats here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick look at where the housing market is, and then we're going to compare some year over year stats because this data is from December. It's the most recent data we have. It's the most recent full month data that we have, and it's also the end of the year. So we have a great comparison between what happened last year, what happened in 2023, and what happened before the pandemic. So first, what's going on in the state of Vermont? We're taking a look at single family homes across the state. We see that median sales price is up about 2% year over year. And of course, it's at a low for the year, but this is very typical. We typically see median sales price dip as we move into the winter months. We see these peaks and valleys from past years. So nothing out of the ordinary here, but we see even though it's dropping month over month, we're still above the yearly numbers. The median sales price across the state is not going down for single family homes. Now, when we take a look at some of this other data, what I want to show you is the active inventory and the days on market. So we see active inventory is starting to build. We see the peak was much higher than the peaks that we saw in past years. And even the amount of homes that currently sit on the market is higher from last year, up about 33%, about 300 more properties currently are on the market today than were on the market this time last year, which is a good sign. It's a welcome sign for the housing market. We do need more inventory. Now, that being said, we're still well below where we were in 2019. In December of 2019, there were about 3,300 homes on the market. So in 2019, we had about 3 times as much inventory as we do today. And that remains the same as we move back a few years. 2018, we had even more inventory. 2017, we had even more inventory. So although inventory is building and it's a welcome sign across the state, we're still well below where we were pre-pandemic. Now, when we take a look at median days on market, it tells a very similar story to the inventory. We see this huge spike in median days on market, which is a real sign that the housing market is slowing. 35 days on market. This is much closer to what a healthy, more balanced, more stable housing market would be, as opposed to such a crazy frenzy that we experienced in the early 2020s. Now, at the same time, we're still in a hotter market than what would have been considered normal before the pandemic. So, although if you're a seller out there and your home's sitting on the market, it might feel like, wow, this is really slow. No buyers are coming through. Well, that's because, yes, it's much slower compared to last year. It's much slower compared to 2022. But overall, it's still a hotter market than what you would have had if you were to sell in 2018, 2019, or before. So, yes, we're trending towards a slower market. Things are improving for home buyers out there, but the market is still relatively hot. Let's take a look at the year over year data. Now, what I wanted to show you is new listings year over year. The new listing data, it's kind of tough to comprehend when you break it down by month, but when we go by year, and of course, this is December's data, so it's the most recent data we have. It's also the end of the year, so we can clearly see where new listings are. New listings are up year over year, which is great. It's such a welcome sight to see that more homes are hitting the market, more properties are available for buyers out there. I know if you're a home buyer right now in the market, which I am currently, there still aren't that many options for you, but there are a little bit more options than what we saw last year, which is welcome. But as you can see, if we take a look at 2019 numbers, there was about almost 10,000 properties hit the market in 2019. So we're roughly 2,500 new listings below where we were in 2019. In other words, these aren't necessarily homes that are sitting on the market. They're not all of these properties are selling. Of course, some of them will expire, some of them will roll over into next year, but still 2,500 more sellers chose to list their property in 2019 than what we saw this year. And that deficit has occurred every year since 2020. So if we add up all these numbers, and I'm not going to do it specifically on this video, but I did it before in preparation, it adds up to about 10,000 homes. So if we were to take this average that we saw in 2019, we saw things start to level off. This was kind of the low point for the 2010s, but it was still relatively stable. If we were to use just 2019's numbers and expect that to continue into the 2020s, we would have expected 10,000 more properties to hit the market over the past 4 years than what we actually saw. So inventory, homes that are becoming available for sale here in Vermont, is significantly low. Now, when we take a look at pending sales, again, this year over year pending sales number, we see here that yes, we did see a little spike in pending sales. Of course, it didn't spike as much as the new listings that hit the market, which is why inventory is starting to build. But what's really interesting is we did see pending sales start to spike in 2019, but as we move into 2020, we saw this massive spike in pending sales. Same thing with 2021. And then 2022, the pending sales started to drop off as a lot of the inventory that was left over on the market from 2019 and 2020 was finally gone by 2022. So we see this huge increase in pending sales when the pandemic started, signifying the shift in buyer sentiment here in Vermont and the flood of people moving to Vermont, people wanting to purchase properties with these low interest rates. And that correlated with the little amount of listings that we saw during that same time period is resulting in the market that we have right now. So although the market is improving, we are still at a significant deficit for homes available to purchase here in Vermont. We need more inventory, whether that comes from existing home sellers or new construction. It doesn't really matter for the overall housing market, but at the end of the day, we do need new homes for sale. And I think the best solution is more inventory across the state. Now, before we jump into the conclusion of this video, let's take a look at what's going on in Chittenden County. Chittenden County, of course, is the area where I primarily work. I do service the surrounding counties as well, but Burlington, Chittenden County is where Burlington is, which is the most populated city here in Vermont. And it tends to be the hottest market in Vermont as well. So we take a look here, median sales price, 474, down slightly year over year, but basically even. Again, we're not seeing a huge shift up or down in the median sales price, which is what I expected at the start of last year. I expect something similar this year, unless we see a significant drop in interest rates. Then I think we will see the median sales price start to shoot up again. But if we see interest rates around where they are today, fluctuating between 6 and 7%, then I think we're going to see the median sales price remain roughly where it is. We're not going to see a big increase or a big decrease. Again, this number, it might be -3%, it might be +3%, but it's not going to be anything significant as we move throughout 2025. Now, when we take a look at the active inventory in Chittenden County, again, we do see this increase in inventory sitting on the market, right? The market is slowing from when the pandemic happened. There are more homes that are sitting on the market. Median days on market in Chittenden County is still low, but it's much higher than it was the past few years. Again, it was at 35 days on market for the entire state. Chittenden County is at around 17 days on market. And when we take a look at the month supply of inventory, you'll see we're clearly in a seller's market here, 1.4 month supply. So Chittenden County is a little bit of a hotter market than the rest of the state. Things are a little bit more competitive. More people want to move here, and there just simply isn't enough listings to go around for everyone who wants to purchase a property. Now, if we jump back in, this is again the statewide data here. And just take one more look at the month supply of inventory. This is what I mentioned at the beginning of this video. We need to be at about 4 months supply in order for the market to be balanced. We're currently at 2.7, which means we are still in a seller's market. If you are a seller out there, your home will sell. It just might not sell right away because month supply, it's not as low as this 1.9, 1.2, 1.6 that we saw in 2020, 2021, and 2022. So to wrap up the video here, the housing market in Vermont is slowing. It's much slower than what we saw in years past, but it's still a seller's market. Again, the key if you're a home buyer or a home seller is to remain patient. If you're a home seller, remain patient and wait for the right buyer to come by and purchase your property. If you're a home buyer, it's okay to be patient, see a few homes, submit offers under list price, and try to get a good deal for the right home for you. That's all I have for you folks today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Of course, if you're looking to buy or sell a home in Vermont, reach out to me directly. I would be happy to help you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.